This is the T.O. Fuller State Park in Memphis, Tennessee. We chose this campground because of its proximity to Graceland and the National Civil Rights Museum, both of which we wanted to visit, and they're each about 20 minutes away from the campground. Memphis itself was pretty run down, not quite what I expected. In fact, I would say it's probably the abandoned tire capital of the world. We paid $30 a night to stay at site number 16, and we were there for 2 nights. You can tell by the sign, I don't know if you can tell from the video, but in real life, you can tell that it's run down. The solar panel attached to it is smashed. It just needs some trim around it and probably a power washing. When you enter the park, the ranger's residence is off to the right, and immediately past that is a dumping station on the left. We did have one interaction with the ranger while we were there, and it was a positive experience. There's about 50 campsites here. Each one comes with a picnic table and a fire pit. Also water and electricity, both of which we used. Some sites are poured concrete. Some of them are blacktop. Some of them looked level. Ours was not. Ours was off by 6 or 8 inches on the passenger side, and so we had to run to Home Depot, which is about 20 minutes away, to get some wood to jack up that side of the camper. Everything is pretty unkempt. The lawn wasn't mowed. The entire park looked like it needed some serious TLC. The fire pits weren't cleaned out. It was disappointing, and they did have a playground, but there weren't any kids in the entire campground. There were a couple homeless people staying in the campground. That's them in the background there with their tent and car. They had a teenager with them, I believe, maybe 2 dogs. They slept in their car, kind of. You can see here, I'm trying to capture how unmowed the grass was, and it was just hard to capture. We did get rained on 1 or 2 nights, and that just agitated the homeless people. More cursing. Fun fact, too, when it rains here, there's a water treatment plant about 2 miles away, and the entire park stinks like waste, like septic when it rains. We had to stay inside most of the time. There were a hiking trail or 2. We didn't go on them, but they are there. If I've got to say something positive about this campground, this is the bathhouse. And again, when you enter into it, it just looks kind of like a prison bathroom, honestly. Needs a paint job. The floors are dirty. I saw a guy cutting his hair in here, and he kind of cleaned it up, but hair was all over the place for the entire weekend. It just looks reminiscent of, Alcatraz, the chipped paint and dirty floors and so forth. It just wasn't up to par. The whole thing looks like it's underfunded, and I'm sure they struggle with that, but it's a state park. I think they could do better. Also, if you want to use the stalls, don't count on locking the door. None of them lock. I tried both of them, and they just don't lock. They did have a laundry room. We didn't use it, but it looked pretty standard. A couple coin-operated machines, a sink and table. Interesting, they did have an ice machine in there, which is kind of nice, maybe kind of weird. Overall, we would give this park like a 3.5. I mean, so far, this is the worst camping experience we've had, mainly because of the homeless people in there that were allowed to just stay there and scream at each other all night. That was very unsettling. I hope you enjoyed this review. I can't recommend you stay here. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again in the future.